Purpose is the main thing. Men desire purpose. That's why we build things. That's why we create things. It's a purpose. So you see a man who has a very demanding job, he will be quite assertive with it. Whereas a person who perhaps lost his job and he's having to sit at home, he'll get quite depressed because there's no purpose to what he's doing.
Adam Green, thanks so much for coming onto the podcast, man. I am pumped to have you on.
Oh, that's so loud. I'm pumped. I'm the moderate amount of pumped.
Thanks so much for coming on, man. So I'm been really impressed with all the things that we've been doing because we've been working together, and you've obviously completed the Overcome the Chaos program, helped find your purpose. You world-class stud. You've done a whole bunch of army stuff. You're one of the head people in the Brotherhood for Gold Coast, helping organising all those things and training and all that stuff, man. And I'd just like to ask you, bro, what is your purpose and what fills you up with passion?
My purpose is to lead men to their highest selves by embodying my core values.
What are your core values at the moment?
The first one, I think, will always be love. Everything we do is because of that. That will always be one of the highest, closely followed by integrity, discipline, honor. They all fall short to love though. Everyone thinks I'm a pretty guru kind of guy, but I'm just a big softie. I just want everyone to live the best they can and enjoy life and its experiences the best they can. So underlying everything, all the hardship, all the suffering is just love.
I love it, man. What are some of the biggest lessons that you think you've learned recently that can be applied to your life that could be beneficial to other people?
The biggest lessons would be to step into the fear and the unknown, take the chance on yourself. A lot of people don't believe that they are good enough for greatness, but with that limiting belief, they will restrict themselves forever. I just think take the punt. You literally don't know if there's any other life after you die. So why wait? Why settle for comfort and security?
I'd like to talk about that, man, with limiting beliefs, because you do obviously a lot of men's coaching, and you're helping men all the time try to raise up and really be the best version of themselves. What is the most common problem that you see, or the limiting beliefs that guys have?
I think they just don't value themselves as much as perhaps other people value them. They don't see their true potential. They think, oh no, not me. I can see other people doing that, but I probably couldn't do that. They don't understand how limitless they actually are. As men, I think every single man especially, was made to do something great, to do something epic and amazing and live an adventurous life. But we've been drummed into this routine of living where we should get a job, do this. This is the steps to follow for you to, i.e., be successful, in the normal society. But we've lost the adventure, the savageness. We've lost that drive. Maybe not lost. We've just forgotten about it. It's still there. It's definitely still there. That's why you see guys do ridiculously crazy, dangerous, irresponsible things because they're misguided. I think the biggest limiting belief is they don't trust themselves enough.
And how do you see that?
Every
in
day.
People? Yeah.
Every damn day. They don't trust that. Everyone wants to go start their own business or travel the world or take on an epic quest, but they don't trust that they'll be able to do it, or they don't believe that it's safe for them. They think, oh, no, that's too risky. It's too risky. Oh no, if I work this job, I'll make enough this year to get the house. Well, do you want the house? No, it's the right thing to do. So it's manifested every single day when you see guys. This is not a jab. A lot of guys love their job in the trades area, but I know a lot of mates where I'm from who just become tradies because that was what we did. It was where we were from. I never did that personally. I hated it. I tried. Didn't like it. But if I asked them, I was on the phone to a mate the other day and he said, yeah, work's going really well. Money's coming in. I'm like, oh, but do you enjoy it? So, oh, no, it's work. You're not supposed to. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? And he said, oh, no one likes their job. I'm like, that's not true. I enjoy my job a lot. And I just think it's because we're so programmed to believe that do school, leave school, go to a trade or go to uni, go to trade school, go to uni, get a job in whatever field you studied. You made that decision at 16, 17 years old. You don't even know who you are. You're going to stick with that for the rest of your life? So I just think it starts when we're young. We get programmed into doing those things, and a lot of people don't break the chain.
Yeah, out of no fault of our own, too, for sure. Like, it's not like you're aware of those things until you're aware of them, right? And it's like you don't have that, awareness unless it's been brought to you, in terms of parents or people around you that like, oh no, you can actually really love your job. There's just like this, I think, out of no, like I'm actually not anti-society or anything. I think like all the stuff that they've put in there is like pretty kept in place, because I believe like looking at history and stuff with all the wars and shit like that went on, it's like they need some sort of structure or system to help people get through.
Yep.
And like it's so necessary. But we're living in the age of abundance, baby. Like we don't have to do any of that anymore.
Yep.
We can really go out and like literally do whatever we want. But I think like in Australia specifically, being in like this island where we have so much opportunity, like you think, what the hell do I really want to do?
Yeah. I think 100%, I'm not against all of that. Some people go out and love it. And I think most people will hear this, like majority will hear this and think, oh, okay, but do nothing from it. But as long as I keep screaming for the top of the roof as much as I can, this is what I think. And I know it will benefit people, but I know in 1,000 people, one person might actually heed the advice. And if that happens, sweet. One person's just gone out and they've changed their world, and they could be the person that makes something amazing of the world. So that's why I'm not going to slow down or anything like that. As long as just a few people will hear this and take action, I'm happy as. So yeah, that's wicked. I think everyone can keep doing what they're doing and enjoying it, but understand that you can do so much. You can do so much. Don't limit yourself. So that's what I think.
Obviously at the moment, like I know you've been reading a lot of Nietzsche, you've been diving into philosophy, you've spent a whole bunch of time in the army, you spent a whole bunch of time doing stuff with guys. Like, what are some of the things that like you're working on at the moment, which is like making you really motivated?
The biggest thing that I can do to help other people is become better myself. As much as I want to help other people, I'm always going to help myself first. If that sounds selfish, so be it. I can't help other people do things if I don't know how to help them. So the biggest thing I'm tackling is just overcoming myself, learning and becoming aware of all the things that I do wrong and right, so that if I've made this mistake, I can tell someone else and they can trust me and not make the same mistake, or they can hear it, make that same mistake and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense now. So I think working on myself as much as I can, investing in myself, training, studying, doing all the things to be a better leader, a better friend, a better partner to whoever, that is what I'm going to do.
And what is like, have you got any examples of that at the moment?
In terms of investing in myself, or?
Yeah, in terms of like things that you've learned, or when like you've been a better version of yourself and you've like learned something, then it's applied to you some way and you've applied it somewhere else. And someone's gone like, whoa.
Very clear examples. I've spent a lot of time training physically and learning different ways that work good or bad, making a lot of mistakes. And from there, I can go into brotherhood and tell the boys the mistakes I've made, or the things I did do that worked well, and teach them that. So it's very obvious, but if I do a lot of things, I will make a lot of mistakes and a lot of, what's the opposite of mistakes? Good choices.
Good decisions.
Good decisions.
Yeah.
And I've taken that in all the philosophies and all the different training principles, and I've applied it to the training with brotherhood. Because I'm the head coach there. I run most of the training programs. I take a lot of that philosophy and I put it into there, and I'm just seeing everyone grow so much change, so much energy and muscle, and so much men being men. So I'm stoked about it. I love it.
Yeah, dude, that's so cool. And I'm sort of thinking as well, why do you think like men, for example, that they put like so much pressure on themselves to succeed? Like, why do you think they do that?
I think guys put a lot of pressure on themselves to succeed because inherently they know they can. And if they weren't going to live up to that, they wasted their life, perhaps.
It's so big, so true. So like, what about, people in terms of finding their full potential? Because, well, firstly, because I'm just trying to I'm thinking like 100 questions right now. In terms of what do you think like men most desire in terms of like moving forward and living a real good life? Like, what do you think those things are?
Purpose is the main thing. Men desire purpose. That's why we build things. That's why we create things. It's a purpose. So you see a man who has a very demanding job, he will be quite assertive with it. Whereas a person who perhaps lost his job and he's having to sit at home, he'll get quite depressed because there's no purpose to what he's doing. John Eldredge's Wild at Heart, I think, really nailed it with beauty, purpose, danger. Guys need that. Those things, if those cups aren't full, I wouldn't say full, if they're not controlled, men will spiral off into, we've talked about this before, if you're not finding danger in perhaps your work in a controlled way or somewhat manageable way, you'll go off in other directions. You will race your car too fast down the street. You'll maybe perhaps cause chaos out in the street. You'll go gambling. You'll find danger in other ways. So beauty, purpose, danger, if you're not finding them in your life, you will find it in other unhealthy ways. So purpose is the main thing though.
I'd love for you to like get into that a little bit more and actually explain purpose, beauty and danger a little bit more for everyone who's listening in terms of how they could actually apply that. Because I might be thinking like, what does that mean by that?
Okay. Firstly, beauty. I think people need to stop and take in the roses and smell the flowers. You need to appreciate and have beauty in your life, whether it's art, whether it's nature. I think my biggest one, the way I get this is through nature. I think it's beautiful. I think going out into the mountains and looking at the trees, thousands of years old, perhaps hundreds of years old, looking at the mountains, or going out looking at women, talking with beautiful women, not in a perverted way, but in like appreciating the beauty of them. With art as well, I really love art and looking at things, and that's the way I
like a wife or a family or something like that.
A beautiful creation,
yeah.
And appreciating that, really stopping and looking at it and appreciating that. Purpose, you need purpose to direct you in some kind of way. If you have a ship with no sails, you will not go anywhere. If you have your sails up, you have a direction on your map, you have purpose. Without that, you'll be a big, thundery cloud, doesn't know where to go. When you have purpose, you're a laser-focused lightning bolt. You can make a lot more impact with direction and with purpose. So you need to question yourself as to why you're on this earth. Why are you here? What are you doing? Why? Until you understand, I am currently here right now to fulfill X, Y, Z. Without that, you will tirelessly spin your wheels until you're all burnt out. And danger, one of my favorites. I love it. Men need danger. We've been fighting saber-toothed. We've been going to war. We've been climbing ridiculous mountains, doing all kinds of things for all of existence. Without danger, I feel like men find it in very unhealthy ways. Without sanctioned danger, somewhat, you are facilitating it in a way that is going to be either productive or just not reckless, not chaotic. So I find that in taking calculated risks when we go out for trail runs and hikes and whatnot, and climbing certain ledges and mountains and whatnot. That's fun, that's exciting, my heart's pumping, doing big cliff jumps, going to BJJ and wrestling. It's pretty dangerous when someone's trying to choke you out. So you need to have that thrill of like adrenaline. If you don't have that, a lot of guys around our area go gambling a lot. They put some money down, maybe a lot of money. It's pretty risky. They get that little thrill, and then they get that fix, and then they do it again. That's an unhealthy version. You can find a lot of healthy versions in maybe work. So if you take danger in your career, say you want to take a big risk and it pays off, fuck yeah, like how good. Sometimes it won't pay off and you'll learn from that. So you need to find danger in a somewhat healthy way.
Yeah, which is crazy. And like, is that why you think as well, if people don't have a good relationship with danger, why they sort of lead to, taking, like abusing substances or, putting themselves in positions where they get their heart broken, or like even the bad stuff of like real bad in terms of mental health and stuff, because I'm really passionate about it. It's like actually committing suicide and stuff because they just haven't balanced everything. Like, what do you think about that?
100%. If you're not finding these things in a productive way, you will find an unproductive, unhealthy way. And a lot of those things can be chasing the high, chasing some kind of feeling, chasing things. It's always good to chase good things, but you'll find it in a way where the reward might not be what you want. You play silly games, you'll win silly prizes.
So what can people like do about it?
To find danger or to find all of it?
For all of those things, yeah.
Well, firstly, you have to start to stop and look at what you're doing and ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this what I'm doing right now serving me? Going to the track and gambling. Oh yeah, I'm going to win some money. Is it really serving you? No. Probably not. You can look at things like you in your career. A lot of people self-sabotage. You need to ask, is what I'm doing, and really pull yourself away from it, pull your entire self away from it. Perhaps put your position, put yourself in someone else's shoe looking in and say, is what I'm doing actually going to serve me for every single decision you make? And if you can't seem to answer that, you've probably already answered yourself. Like, it's not serving you, change your tactics.
What about for the people who find it really hard? You know, they think about it and they go, oh, like, I know it's not serving me, but like, I just can't get through it. I just can't seem to move forward on it. Like, what the hell? Like, what would you sort of say to those people in terms of inspiring them and helping them make a good decision, and then like what they can actually do?
Well, firstly, find a good circle or a good mentor or find help. People will often not see the obvious things in themselves, but so quickly see the obvious in someone else. So go find a group or perhaps a mentor who will keep you accountable. Real big thing is you can't solve a problem if you don't know there's a problem. So you need to do a lot of introspective work to figure out that something you're doing is a problem, because you won't know it's a problem until you know.
You know?
If you know, you know.
Dude, it's crazy. And like, how, like, 'cause I see this a lot, and I'd like to hear like your thoughts on this too. It's just like, men struggle so much just to ask for help. I don't know if it's like a superiority thing or whatever it is, but they're like, oh man, like, I just don't want to ask for help from other people. And what I see is like the most successful people in terms of whatever their main goals is, or their purpose, or whether it is in terms of like health, wealth, relationships, like any of those things, the most successful people in those are the ones that have, you know, had the most help or asked for the most help, because a person who's built it up for themselves every time, in my personal experience, sometimes, well, majority of the time comes burning down at some point, and then they don't know how to get to what I call like the second mountain. So, man, I'd love to hear you speak and like your thoughts of, you know, why men struggle to ask for help so much and what they can do about it, and your experience with it, because you're good at asking for help. So
lose the ego. That'd be number one. You said a great quote that you took from Jordan Peterson the other day, which I love, is you only have to ask a stupid question once. You want to flesh it out like probably you only have to ask a stupid question once, because once you've asked, you know the answer. I think that's awesome. I, for a while, struggled to ask for help. There's still areas in life where I struggle to ask for help, and I really need to constantly be on alert for them. There was an incident yesterday. I was like, I don't want to seem incompetent. I'm like, that's just my ego talking. Corey, help me with Canva.
Nice.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
It's people judge harshly on themselves, and it's not really the case. Like, only you care about this. If you were to ask someone for help, as long as you're genuine, you're not just trying to get someone to do it for you. If you're genuinely asking for help, people are so happy to help you. If you're just trying to manipulate them to do it for you, they might pick that up. You're just a bad person perhaps, or you need to work on that. But if anyone asks for help, everyone is so open to help, because how good is helping people? People want to help.
I love getting asked for help.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to help you. Let's go. The only time that I don't like when people ask for help is when I know they haven't been resourceful with themselves, because people doubt themselves so much where they'll ask for help just because they haven't even stopped to think themselves on how to do something. So the way, like in army, it was like your chain of command. So first ask yourself for help. Like, hey, this is a problem. Can I solve this? Go through all your resources. And if you can't solve that, Ask the person next to you, hey, help me. I can't solve it either. Then go up, ask the next highest person, all right, can you help me? And it goes up and up and up and up. At some point, you'll get to a point where someone can help you. But first, ask yourself. If they can't help you, ask the person next to you. That was the thing where I learned how to ask for help very quickly, because I can't go running to the top of the chain to ask him. I got to start asking my mates, and that was like easing into, all right, we're on the same level. I'm going to ask you. There's no like ego involved. We're on the same level. I'll ask you. All right, they'll ask the next person. So the biggest thing is just removing your ego, being prepared to sound like an idiot one time, because it'll only happen once, and asking for help. You'll get everything you want if you just ask for it.
Hi everyone, thank you for listening to these podcasts and applying these concepts to your life and sharing these with all your friends and on your stories. I am seriously so full of gratitude. I am currently experiencing one of the best phases of my life, and I just want to share this with you. If you know someone, or if you're a man who is at that stage of your life where you're unclear with what to do next and you are self-sacrificing to help everyone else, saying yes to everything, doubting yourself, suffering from imposter syndrome, or you can't find your purpose, so you're constantly distracting yourself with hobbies, working too much, other distractions, or a partner or an ex. We are running a group coaching program for ambitious men called Overcome the Chaos for you, especially if you are someone who wants to network with other professionals, get support, learn the tools, and stop holding yourself back from becoming the best version of yourself. The first half of life, the scariest thing is living at your full potential. The scariest thing at the second half of life is never actually taking the leap. So please send me a message on Instagram saying ready, or apply through my website, coreyboutwell.com, and we'll point you in the right direction. And I also think that men also really struggle to get like vulnerable. And I think that a lot of, strength comes in vulnerability. Like the more vulnerable and open you can be, especially in terms of emotions. Because I just think that men have this thing where it's like, when we have to feel, we're like, oh God, I'm going to feel feelings. And then like have sort of like a panic attack about it.
Yep.
Like, what do you sort of think about, vulnerability and moving forward? And when have you had to get vulnerable? Well, Freddie.
That triggered a memory of asking for help. Asking for what you want, you will receive it. But asking for help, especially being vulnerable to someone. If you are vulnerable with someone, especially as a man, if you get vulnerable with someone, they like you more and they want to help more. How much do you hate when someone's like, oh no, I can do it. And then they're like, oh fine, I can't do it. You do it. It's a very you hate that kind of thing, don't you? But if I'm like, hey, I can't figure this out. I've tried this, and this. Can you help me? People will be much more open to do it. I was just thinking, I've been using this at jits, where I'll go up to like the brown and black belts and be like they'll show me some cool as stuff, because I'll just be like, hey, I really can't figure this out. Can you please help me? And they're like so down for it. They're like, oh, that's a good question. I'll ask like certain questions. I'll try and like ask certain questions to get them flowing. And then they'll answer my question, and then that'll just go on to like a tangent of them teaching me cool, weird shit. So I'm learning all this cool, like, secret stuff. And like, I'm just going back and taking it. I'm like, yes. Going back to all the white belts. I'm like, oh, that's me. And having a wild time, because I was really vulnerable with them, and they've just started gushing, because people love to talk about the things they know. They love to hear the sound of their own voice, and they just start like going, and they love teaching. So I love receiving. So being vulnerable and being open to receive, and you'll get a whole lot of stuff coming your way.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that we can just hold ourselves back from that. And like, you obviously competed the Overcome the Chaos program as well. Like, what did you think about that? And like, what was the main lessons and stuff that you learned from jumping in that program?
I am limitless. I realized there's so much more depth to the human than I thought. There's so much more. There's so much more I can learn now. That was like a tip of an iceberg, and that was like, holy shit. I got very emotional doing that course. There's a lot of times where I got very emotional. So I also figured out that there's stuff that I thought I dealt with that I definitely had not. And that was just the start of the work. The importance of network as well. I think that was definitely a big thing. Having a big circle of dudes that have done a whole lot of different things. If you put a question to that circle, you'll get a whole lot of different ways to solve that problem. Pardon. So I learned how important it is to put yourself in a big fish tank. Definitely.
Crazy. And what sort of personal lessons or things that you thought in there were beneficial to you?
In the course itself,
Yeah.
the optimization, like the energy optimization, is definitely a huge one. When you're not aware of all the things you do wrong, you can't fix them. After that week, I learned a lot of things that I was doing that weren't optimal, and small hacks gave me lots of energy, which gave me so much joy in life that I could attack more things. Put that aside, that was one great thing. Another thing that I loved was diving into the philosophy. I thought I'm pretty versed on some things. That was just you introduced me to Nietzsche, and I was like, holy shit. That was wild. So I couldn't really, you taught me how to read into things a lot more and really take a better understanding of it, because everything and the way people speak, way things they do things, there's so much underlying messages that I was just oblivious to. And I don't know if it's just talking with you a lot or the course or where that came from, but I can now read into things a lot better, and my interactions with people are a lot clearer.
That's crazy, man. And what about clarity on your direction and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, didn't even touch on that. I'm so freaking clear now. The importance, we had a conversation a while ago. I think I was going through your course. I'd only just started. We had you on the Brotherhood podcast, and you asked me a question, and I answered it. I feel like I'm a big thundering storm, like I said before, and I need to have that conductor with my lightning rod. That sounds weird. To strike down the lightning. Once we started refining the purpose, so at the start of the course, it was quite long. Didn't make sense. I talked to my dad a lot about it. Didn't make sense. We went over the weeks, started to make sense. And I came out the other end, it's that perfect little sentence. And now everything is so clear. Everything I do each day needs to drive towards that purpose. So I came out of that. I waste much less time now. I make less mistakes, I make better decisions because it's a lot more clear on the direction I'm going. I had a mountain I needed to climb. I had a blunt axe I was chopping away. You gave me a map. I found the path. It's a lot easier to get to the top now with the map. So that was amazing.
That's so crazy, man. And obviously now we've got exciting opportunity because you're teeing up with Brotherhood and Overcome the Chaos, and you're putting people through the course as well. How excited are you, and what are your thoughts on that too?
10 out of 10 excitement. Because I know the feeling. I know what it feels like. So I'm so excited to instill that feeling onto other people. Because I know what it feels like to wake up and to not be sure if anything I'm doing even matters. I know what it feels like to wake up and be like, what's the point? Why am I doing this? There's no clarity, there's no direction. On the flip, I know what it feels like to wake up and have clear direction, and goddamn, it feels good. And I know the boys that we work with, the men at Brotherhood, I know they have so much potential. They might just need a bit of direction and clarity. And I understand the power and the impact this course will have on them. And that's why I'm just driving anyone I can to do the work, because once they've done it, I won't need to say anything. They'll know. They won't need to say anything. They'll just be on the path and it'll be wicked.
Well, that got me a little bit emotional.
Oh, I'm getting a little emotional.
That got me a little bit emotional, bro. Straight up. Well, in regards to that, one of the things that obviously we're helping is men to become better men, entrepreneurs to become better leaders. We're helping people really get to that second mountain in terms of, especially if you're in your 20s and if you're in your early 20s and you're a little bit more mature and you're like, I want to make something of myself. Or if you're in your mid 20s or early 30s and later 30s and you've made something of yourself, and now you're like, now what the hell is going on? We're getting people, as you mentioned, to the top of that damn mountain, which is amazing. And I think there's a whole lot of characteristics in there that help people to be for lack of better words, true men. So what do you think in your head, what do you think makes a better man?
Oh, big can to open. I think the first thing that makes a better man is putting the shades of love on. I don't want to get too soft and sappy, but I look at the world now through a different lens, through the lens of love. And a lot of guys, they're trying to compete with the world. They're trying to push back against the world, or perhaps where I'm going is for men to be better men, they need to learn how to love themselves to the optimal, to the max, so they can look at the world with love and think about how can I help. And I think a big thing in the last maybe year or so was me changing the lens from trying to just be a go get after it, attack the world kind of guy to I freaking love everything and everyone and the whole thing, the whole world. How can I best help? So I'm on a tangent now. Wind me back in. Where were we going with this?
No, bro, that was like fantastic. It's like, what makes better men?
What makes better men? There's different categories. I think starting with the very simple category is healthier men. So physically, mentally, spiritually healthier men. That's what we look at. Obviously, in the course, we look at optimizing your health. We look at clearing the chains or the limiting beliefs so you can be a lot more mentally healthy. A better man, a good man, needs to be strong, fit, and they need to be mentally clear. If you can just get those things in order, if you can have a clean diet, if you can work out, if you can get outside, if you can be very clear and decisive of what you're doing, you can make a huge impact on the world. You're better than 90% of the people trying because they haven't optimized themselves. So get healthy. It's pretty simple. It's hard. It's not easy. I mean, it's easy, but it's
an easy process, but it's hard to show up
consistently
and disciplined day in and day out. And I think people, obviously, not putting anything on society again, guys, sorry.
Not attacking society.
I'm not attacking society, but just because of immediate gratification. And we just get things so quickly now that, in terms of, people for a bodybuilding show, for example, or it's a natural comp or something that isn't on steroids or whatever. For example, it's like, well, I can just take steroids and get there more quickly to do it. That's like one example. Unless you have that passion in order to get there and do those things and compete at a high level, professional level, then I'd probably weigh up the risks and the energy and the effort that it takes to do that. Another thing that's like immediate gratification is like purpose. So many people will just chase like, what does success looks like to me? And it's like lots of money. Or like, okay, cool. So the first thing that like people do when they finish school or whatever it is like, well, the first thing I will want is I do want to have lots of money, but I've got a lot of testosterone right now. So I'm going to put it all into girls. Validate me. How many girls can I pick up? How much attention can I get, from girls? And you're going out and, okay, the way that I'm going to get girls is I'm going to go out and get pissed and take heaps of drugs so I can be that cool guy that all the girls pick up. Then you're like, I'll try to do all those things and I'll go to the clubs and I'll do these things and I'll message everyone on Tinder and stuff and get that validation and that immediate gratification as quick as I can, instead of like the really noble cause of like, see if you can lock down a relationship for like 30 years.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's where the true love is and what you're actually searching for, even though with that proper validation from someone, even though it's immediate gratification. And then that sort of phases over and you're like, I'm done with this. You might have found someone which is like really good and really beautiful, or you haven't. So you're like, well, what's going to find me true validation and true this is to make a shitload of money. So how am I going to make the money the quickest? Well, I've got these skills that my dad taught me here, or I know this person's made a lot of money in real estate, or I know this person started a business on this. So, I'm going to do that and make lots of money. And then they'll go out and get immediate gratification. And then, they'll start making lots of money, which will be really hard, or they won't start making lots of money. They just keep finding the next thing because they keep going out of immediate gratification. How can I get things quickly? What's the next crypto thing? I'll get into crypto and I'll just like keep trying to make a crypto thing instead of do things for like a long period of time. So I think it's really like respectful with the whole maintaining health for a long period of time. It's like one thing to lock you down as like a discipline that you're gonna have to learn over a long period of time to get you out of immediate gratification so that you can actually start taking action on what's most meaningful to you and your purpose. But majority of the time people get to the end of those positions of searching validation and all those things and they haven't spent any time thinking about their purpose. Then they go, I'll just go see someone or do an event or I'll listen to a podcast. Maybe that'll find my purpose for whatever it is. Like, how hard was it to find your purpose?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like, it's the same thing as your health or whatever it is. You got to spend so much time like getting into it. So like, you know, what do you think about that? And, you know, how would you like encourage someone to do the hard things, to find their purpose, you know, lock down a good relationship and actually spend time investing in themselves to get there? And then like, what they can do about it.
Consistency is number one. Consistency and discipline. But I always say like consistently good will always beat sometimes great. So be consistent. I think a lot of people this day and age, we're very grateful. We're spoiled with instant gratification, whether it's very easy to go take a pill and feel something instantly. It's very easy to get on your phone and meet up with someone on Tinder, instant gratification. It's easy to get those quick things. We all know that's not the right thing. We all know that's not longevity. There's no longevity in that. So we're spoiled with instant gratification, whether through our phone, through drugs and partying. So we don't understand what it feels like to work for a long time to get something, how much better it feels. I think if you want to find purpose, firstly, you need to stack up a lot of experiences because you need to know what you don't like in order to avoid that. So go do a bunch of stuff, realize you don't like it. In the process of doing those things, you'll find something you do like. Maybe you find a job that you like parts of it, but you don't like other parts. All right, take note of that. Don't just keep doing the same thing and expect different results. Go do a bunch of stuff, become an interesting person, and you'll figure out, hey, I actually really love talking to people about X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go make a career out of this. Well, a lot of people make the mistake, I did it, of chasing money early on. I went into a job that was god awful, but
shady sales one.
Shady sales one.
Can you tell us about that? You're just doing some shonky shady sales stuff.
I won't go too much into detail.
Not the thing. For
keep names out of it.
Yeah.
I was in a job. So I was in a great job before this. I was working in retail, and that app's like in a retail store. It changed my life. It was crazy because I gained a lot of confidence. I was very bad. Perhaps I'll preface with this story and then move into the shady sales story because I like this one. I started up in a retail job I was traveling, I was backpacking through Europe and stuff. Got back, I'd left the army. I had no social skills. Talking to people, very bad. I was very, the conversations were more like in the army, it's very, this is why I'm talking to you. Okay, this is why I'm talking back. Okay, done. Moving on. There was no rise and falls and ebbs and flows of conversation. So when I got into a sales job where I needed to try and build rapport, I needed to try and mirror people, get on their level, try and convince them why they need X, Y, and Z, or just help them find what they need. I was so awkward, so terrible, so bad that I just fucked everything up every time. And in this job, if I wasn't hitting my targets, I wasn't getting shifts. I wasn't getting paid. If I wasn't getting paid, I wasn't eating and I wasn't paying rent. I was on my own out in the big bad world as a young man. And if I wasn't doing this, I was like in my head going to die. So this is life or death. Google, how do I get better at this? Read a few books, see what happens. So How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read that and that was like all the book I needed. I was like, oh, this is perfect. The big thing that people don't realize is once you've read a book, you actually have to implement it. You have to do the thing that it says to do for it to work. So I went in to the store and I started implementing the things that it taught me, and I just was creaming it, just crushing it. It took time. My anxiety went away. I became a lot more confident because I was competent. I think it's a big thing. To build confidence, you need to become competent. You can't just walk in and fake it because people see through that straight away. So I got really good at that job. We'll just skip forward a few years. I was their best salesman, doing millions of dollars a year and just selling clothing, which is pretty crazy in my head. I learned a lot. I met a lot of cool people. I did amazing stuff. I got so many life stories from that short 4 years, from going to different countries to go to expos, to help setting up stores, to meeting massive celebrities. Everyone's just a person. So it was like, all right, that's kind of cool. But I had capped it and I was ready to move on. And I was like, all right, I want some money. I want to make some money. I wasn't caring about how or what I was doing. It was more like, I deserve money. I'm working so hard. So I went and got this shady sales job. We were doing somewhat illegal activities, I think. I think. We were selling stuff over the phone to people we would never meet. It felt at the start very Wolf of Wall Street, so I was quite excited about it. I realized very quickly that I hate sitting in an office calling people.
Sorry about that.
You're right.
You realized very quickly that you hated...
I hated sitting at a desk. I hated looking at a computer. I hated having to try and convince people to buy stuff that I didn't believe in. But I had said to myself when I started this job, you got to do it for a year because you got to really know. You got to hate it before you leave. At the time, I didn't think like I'm going to hate it. I just made the deal with myself. All right, you've committed to this job. Do it for a year so you really know, so you learn as much as you can and you get out if you want to, or you stay. You know, you cream it up and make a lot of money. I was making money. It was pretty cool. It came in like the high promises of the boss were pretty empty. The big money came and went here and there. It wasn't consistent, but the job was just soul draining. I was sitting inside an office, staring at a computer under fluorescent lights. I was being a bit of a nerd, you know? It was terrible. And that's when I realized I have purpose and this isn't it. I maybe don't know what the purpose is yet. I maybe don't know what my calling is, but this isn't it. I tried it for a year. I stuck it out. I learned a lot of lessons in regards to dealing with things I don't like, and I got out. The big lesson from that is if I never said yes to that job, if I never pushed myself into the unknown, I never realized I didn't like that job, and I might make a mistake further down the line and take a job that I don't like. So now I know what I don't like, so I can avoid it in the future.
Mic drop, my bad. Boom. So, what would you say to people who, are sort of in that same position, like now on the other end?
If I was to speak to my younger self again, I wouldn't say anything. I'd say, go do what you want to do. Because if I didn't do all those things, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Every single thing that I've done in life, I've made so many dumb decisions, but they're not dumb, They were silly. Probably shouldn't have done that. But if I'd done anything different, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and I absolutely love it. So at a young age, go do as much as you can. Go travel the world, work as many different jobs you can, talk to people as much as you can. Go make as many mistakes as you can when you're young, because you'll refine yourself. You'll build your confidence in yourself because you'll have a lot of different competencies. You'll be pretty interesting too. So if I was to talk to my younger self or anyone, I don't want to give any advice to them. I just want them to make their decisions and write it out. But if I was to say anything, move away from your hometown, go move somewhere else. Put yourself in uncomfortable positions all the time. Take big risks and live dangerously.
Because everything's always okay.
Everything's all right. It's always sweet. It'll always work out exactly how it needs to. The universe has got your back.
I can't remember. I think it's Marcus Aurelius' quote, Socrates, I can't remember, but it was one of my favorites. And it's just, everything is okay and always will be. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I love that.
Isn't that just so true? Even when you get so overwhelmed sometimes, you're like, everything's okay regardless. Like even just, for example, with all the stuff that we've gone on, we've overcome the chaos and that at the moment, in terms of like just the rapid expansion that it's got. Because I'm doing so much fun stuff with it. But the other day, because I've just been like so on the ball every day, like man, working my ass off. And then I laid in the park. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take 20 minutes. I'm going to go tan for a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Tan for like an hour and a half. I was like, yeah, no.
How good.
Like, I was going to lay down here. And I remember just in the park, no notifications, nothing on. And I was like, it's sort of like that whole world of everything while I'm just here in the park, it's just dead. Like it's not even like alive. And like, I'm here, I'm alive. And, I can do anything I want. And then I just start asking the question, because it always happens again. It's like, well, what do you want to do? Because I always ask the question, and I'm like, exactly what I'm doing right now. I love it. Like I just needed an hour tan, and now I'm great. I was like, oh, this is just like so amazing. So it was like a pretty wild experience. As well, one thing that I want to talk to you about as well, because you've done all like a lot of the things that we preach and sort of talk about in terms of like try to heal your relationship with your dad, quitting masturbation and porn, eating like extremely healthy, and then also making sure that you're choosing the right partner and really respecting yourself and your own sexual energy and all those things. I'd love you to like touch on those real quickly.
All right, we'll start from the start. My dad. Um,
Crazy, man. You told me some stuff that's crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Mate, recently, especially with motivation, one things that we realised, sorry guys, like in Overcome the Chaos is there's one section that we sort of think about, like in week 2 when talking about relationships and you got to optimize your relationships and do something for them. And yeah, one of the things that we've sort of come up with in the group is healing relationship with your dad and getting some serious respect for yourself sexually, which I know it sounds crazy, but like all the stuff in terms of finding things work. Like I was saying this last night in the call, in terms of people that have worked one-on-one, one thing that we implement after Overcome the Chaos is doing this document. If you are single or you've just gotten through a breakup, we do this document called like Dream Girl document. And we have 100% success rate of everyone that's done the document has literally found like the perfect girl for them afterwards, and they haven't broken up yet. Like we've done this for like, I'd probably say a year and a half.
Sell that for a lot of money.
Yeah, sell that for a lot of money. One experience, and like every time I talk to one-on-one client, like, oh man, this thing's happening. This is crazy. Life's going shambles, whatever it is. They're like, oh, I forgot to tell you though, girlfriend's killer.
Oh, perfect.
So sorry, I had to just chuck that in there.
No, it's good.
Start at the dad.
That, geez, man. I had some, unbeknown to myself until I dug deep, I had some issues with that I thought I'd cleared. I did a lot of thinking. We did it in the course. We looked at a lot of stuff. I really just dug deep down. And there was stuff there that I needed to work through. So I logically worked through it. And I talked with him. And it was really hard. And I got really emotional.
Tell us about that chat with him. How'd you get there and what was it like?
I had to tell him off. I had to become the dad, and I had to surpass him and say, this is what has happened. This is what will no longer happen. This is what you're going to do. This is coming from me in a place of love. I love you very, very much. But if this is to continue, things won't be the same. And yeah, it was emotional. It's hard. It's hard stuff to talk to the man that's supposed to be telling you how to live life and supposed to be giving you all the guidance and stuff. If he isn't capable, he may be down the line. Like things will change. But if he isn't capable, I need to break that chain firstly, because this is generational. I'm not going to do the same thing that he has done. And it's no fault of his own. His old man did the same thing. His old man. It's a chain thing that I'm here to stop. We're going to have very loving sons and daughters, and we're going to do right by them. But in order for that, we need to be the generation that stops the bad habits. I need to open up emotionally, because there was no like deeper connection. In order to have deeper connection, you need to have the conversations that are very, very hard. Suffering will build deep bonds. So you need to have those hard conversations, because you will love each other a lot more after that. I don't want to get too much into that as wicked stuff. And I think everyone should definitely work on improving their relationship with their parents. And in order to do so, you need to say the things you're thinking. Just let them know, because if you tell them, they will understand. If you don't tell them, you will live with resentment until one of you dies, and the other one will be so unhappy that you guys didn't talk more, if you guys didn't hang out more. My dad and I love each other very much now. We always have. We always will. But I had to call him out on shit. I had to say, this is not okay. These things happened. This is how I feel about it. You know now. What you do with it is up to you. This is how I feel. I want to build this relationship up. Let's talk about it. Playing all footsies under the table.
Yeah, sorry, bro.
But yeah, fixing the relationship with your parents, or with your dad, especially as a young man, will make you a lot better as a father when it comes to your turn. So I think it's definitely important to work on that.
Crazy. And then in terms of the quitting the masturbation, the girls and the things that you've been doing, because you've just been like on a good path at the moment, straight and narrow, and all your energy and focus is going into like creating your abundant future. So I'd love to hear you speak about that.
It is just another escape. That is just another pill, another drug, another escape. Masturbation and porn is a quick fix, a quick release. It is not like I've talked with a lot of people in regards to like sexual coaches and stuff like that. I have friends that do a lot of that, and they have different views on it, but they have healthy views on it. I think as well, if you want to read books about it, like Multi-Orgasmic Man, they'll talk about how you can take this into a good thing, but that becomes another discipline, and then you have to use restraint. I think porn in general is a very easy trap to fall down, because it's this huge billion-dollar company that has literal scientists working on how to keep you on the website and how they can make the most money. So of course you fall into that trap, and of course you've got stung by it, but understand, a good way to look at it is, if you're about to do that, if you're opening up, if you're doing that, just think of someone like everyone seeing you. If everyone is to see you right now, how do you feel? If everyone was to see you exactly how you are right now, how would you feel? You're curled up on the toilet or in your bathroom or in your bedroom or something, searching up some dog ass weird stuff. You feel shame.
Dude, I'm just thinking back to times when I was full on that train, and I was like, I'm so embarrassed to look at myself.
Bro, I have stories. We've all been there. Especially in the army, when you're surrounded by dudes, you're out in the bush, you're out in some random ass butt old town. I've got stories about that.
Oh, God.
And we're not going to talk about that until the cameras and the mics are off. But back to the porn and the masturbation, it's just another escape for you. Your body is craving you to go find a partner, perhaps, or go find an outlet for this energy you have. You can actually learn to use that energy in creative, assertive ways in your business, in your career, in your life. Take all this sexual energy you have as a man, because we have so much energy. Don't just put it into a tissue. Go and put that shit into some art, into a career, into anything other than just wanking. Go use that energy, because you know the urge, like every guy will understand that urge, like, oh, you're like blue balls, and you're like, you're all built up. Imagine if you take that and you filter it into something productive.
What's been your experience with it?
I was like, at the start of the year, I held off for a long time from ejaculating, and I was just gung-ho, getting after it. I was god-awful demon on the loose. I was getting stuff done, and it was wicked. There's a balance, though. I went too far. Favorite quote, the path of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. I took it a little too far. Things happened. I'm not going to discuss that. But that energy, when I actually realized that it's an energy that I can utilize, it drove me to do so many cool things. I got so productive. As a man as well, I swear chicks looked at me different, because I was I was charged up with this energy. People just saw me as this big old dragon that was just taking on the world. So I definitely recommend looking into it, watching your podcast, listening to information about why you should try and restrain yourself from watching it, because porn in general is a very effective drug, and it will really fuck with your dopamine system really badly.
It's crazy. And like, how nuts is it? Just remind myself regularly that 90% of the internet is all porn.
What?
Something stupid like that.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. You know how big the internet is?
The internet's big. What? We gotta change that.
Would you mind hitting the camera? Sorry, bro. We gotta damn change that. It's like, what?
I'm gonna press it.
Yeah.
And press it again, or is it good?
Yeah, you're good to go. Yeah, press it one more time. Yeah.
One more time.
Yep. We're on.
On Weasley.
A little bit of fire.
All right.
Yeah, we got to damn change that, and the way we can change that, man, is getting people to reach out to people like you, myself, or other people. So, man, huge thank you for coming on to show. Where can people find you?
At my house. Don't come looking. No. Firstly, they can find me Brotherhood Gold Coast on Instagram. Is the Brotherhood Gold Coast Instagram. My personal one is Adam W Green _. There's another Adam W Green out there. I had to underscore it. They're probably the best way. I'm most active on Instagram. send me a message, open a chat.
And what would you like to say to the people who you'll be coaching through Overcome the Chaos? Because it's a great opportunity for people out there to jump on as well. What would you like to say to them about you taking them through the course? What would you like to say to them?
I am so damn pumped to see the changes they're going to make, to watch the transformations. I'm so excited. I can't even put it into words. I'm so excited to see major transformations. If you are even thinking, it's not even a question of if you are thinking, because I know people are thinking they want and deserve more. They know they're capable of more. There's so much potential in them. Invest in yourself. I'm going to tell you now, you can do it. Have the confidence, have the trust in yourself to go out, sign up for the course, go take the risk, take the punt on yourself, because that'll be the best investment you'll ever make. And I cannot wait to help you.
Crazy. And for people in the Brotherhood, also get a cheeky little discount as well, which is really cool. And if you are willing to apply and move forward with anything, just send Adam or myself a message saying ready, but preferably Adam, because he'll be taking you guys through that stuff. So dude, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Here we are.